What if one of the most detailed records of Israel's golden age once existed but has completely vanished from history? A book that may have described the reign of one of the Bible's most famous kings in far greater detail than the scriptures we read today. A book that could have contained political insight, architectural descriptions, royal correspondence, and reflections on the wisdom of the king himself. The Bible briefly mentions such a text, the Acts of Solomon. Yet this book is nowhere to be found. Today, we explore the mystery surrounding this lost chronicle, what it might have contained, how it may have expanded the biblical narrative, and why such an important historical record disappeared from the world. Before beginning, it is important to approach this topic with care and reverence. Studying lost books mentioned in the Bible does not challenge the authority of Scripture. Instead, it helps illuminate the broader historical environment in which the biblical narrative emerged. Ancient historians often wrote multiple records about the same events, but only some of those writings were preserved and eventually recognized as sacred scripture. Others served as historical sources that later writers consulted. The Acts of Solomon is one of those lost sources. It is mentioned briefly in 1 Kings 11:41, where the author of Kings writes that the remaining Acts of Solomon, along with all his achievements and wisdom, were recorded in the book of the Acts of Solomon. This simple reference reveals something remarkable. During Solomon's lifetime or shortly after his reign, someone recorded a detailed account of his accomplishments and leadership. This text was known to the biblical historian who wrote the Book of Kings, suggesting that it served as a recognized historical source. Yet today, the book itself has vanished. To understand the possible significance of this lost work, we must first understand the world of Solomon. Solomon ruled during what is often described as the golden age of ancient Israel. The kingdom reached its greatest wealth, international influence, and cultural development during his reign. Trade routes flourished, alliances with neighboring nations strengthened the economy, and Jerusalem became a center of political and religious life. Most importantly, Solomon oversaw the construction of the first temple, the sacred structure that became the spiritual heart of Israel. The biblical narrative describes these achievements in significant detail. Yet even with multiple chapters devoted to Solomon's reign, the text still summarizes many events quickly. A dedicated chronicle like the Acts of Solomon may have provided far more detail. For example, the book may have contained a comprehensive record of the temple's construction. The Bible tells us about the materials used: cedar from Lebanon, gold overlay, and intricately carved stone. But a royal chronicle might have described the architectural planning process, the labor force involved, and the engineering challenges faced during the construction. Such information would have been valuable not only for historical record, but also for future generations seeking to understand the grandeur of the temple. The Acts of Solomon may also have included detailed accounts of Solomon's international diplomacy. The Bible briefly mentions alliances with foreign kingdoms, including relationships with Tyre and Egypt. Trade networks brought gold, precious stones, exotic animals, and rare woods into the kingdom. A royal record may have documented these diplomatic relationships more extensively, including treaties, negotiations, and royal visits. One famous episode that may have appeared in greater detail involves the visit of the Queen of Sheba. According to Scripture, she traveled to Jerusalem after hearing of Solomon's wisdom. The Bible records that she tested the king with difficult questions and was astonished by his knowledge and wealth. But the biblical account is relatively brief. A royal chronicle might have described the visit in much greater depth: the journey across the desert, the political significance of the meeting, and the cultural exchange between the two kingdoms. Another possible expansion within the Acts of Solomon involves the king's wisdom. The Bible portrays Solomon as a ruler gifted with extraordinary understanding. His wisdom extended beyond governance to subjects such as nature, ethics, and human behavior. Scripture even states that he spoke about plants, animals, birds, reptiles, and fish. If Solomon's court maintained a historical record of his teachings, the Acts of Solomon may have preserved additional sayings or reflections attributed to the king. These writings might have resembled the wisdom literature found in books like Proverbs or Ecclesiastes, offering insights into leadership, morality, and the complexities of life. Yet the Acts of Solomon may not have been limited to celebrating his achievements. It may also have recorded the later challenges of his reign. According to the biblical narrative, Solomon's later years were marked by spiritual decline. Political alliances with foreign nations brought foreign religious practices into the kingdom, and the king's heart gradually turned away from exclusive devotion to God. This shift ultimately led to consequences that unfolded after his death, when the kingdom divided. A royal chronicle might have recorded the early warning signs of this decline: political tensions, internal debates within the royal court, or prophetic voices urging the king to remain faithful. Such records would have provided historians with valuable insight into the complex dynamics of Solomon's later years. So why did the Acts of Solomon disappear? The loss of ancient texts is not unusual. Most documents in the ancient world were written on fragile materials such as papyrus or parchment. These materials required constant copying by scribes in order to survive. If a document was not regularly reproduced, it could vanish within a few generations. Political upheaval also played a role in the loss of historical records. After Solomon's death, the kingdom split into two rival nations: Israel in the north and Judah in the south. This division created instability that lasted for centuries. Wars, invasions, and eventually the Babylonian exile disrupted the cultural institutions responsible for preserving historical texts. During times of crisis, scribes focused their efforts on preserving the most essential sacred writings. Other historical works, though valuable, may not have been copied frequently enough to survive. Another possibility is that the Acts of Solomon was absorbed into later historical compilations. The author of the Books of Kings likely consulted multiple sources while writing his narrative. The Acts of Solomon may have served as one of these sources, contributing details that were later incorporated into the biblical text. If that is the case, fragments of its content may still exist within the chapters describing Solomon's reign. This process was common in the ancient world. Historians often gathered earlier records and used them to construct new works that preserved the essential story. In this sense, the Acts of Solomon may not be entirely lost. Its influence may still echo within the scriptures themselves. The mystery surrounding this book reminds us of an important truth about history. The documents that reach us from the ancient world represent only a small portion of what once existed. For every scroll preserved across centuries, many others disappeared through war, decay, or simple neglect. Yet the references preserved in the Bible reveal that ancient Israel maintained a rich tradition of historical record-keeping. Prophets, scribes, and royal historians carefully documented the events of their time. The Acts of Solomon was likely one of those records. It may have captured the grandeur of Israel's golden age, the wisdom of its most famous king, and the complex challenges that shaped the kingdom's future. Even though the book itself has vanished, the brief reference that remains reminds us that history is always larger than the texts we possess. And perhaps somewhere beneath the ruins of ancient cities or hidden within undiscovered manuscript, collections fragments of forgotten writings still wait to be found. Until then, the mystery of the Acts of Solomon continues to inspire curiosity about the hidden layers of biblical history. If you enjoy exploring ancient history, lost books, and the hidden stories behind the Bible, consider supporting this channel. Subscribe, share this video, and join a growing community dedicated to uncovering the forgotten records of the ancient world. Because history remembers what survived, but countless stories were lost to time. And together, we continue searching for the voices that history nearly erased.